You're listening to a podcast from Faith Baptist Church of Winter Haven, Florida. Our purpose is to worship God and equip believers to proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ. If you'd like more information, please visit faithbaptistwh.org.
All right, well, welcome back, everyone. So glad to see you guys here tonight. I hope you guys had an awesome Labor Day weekend, a 3-day weekend. That's always fun, right? As a quick reminder, if you left your binder in the back left on the table there, it should be there for you to use again today. So if you use that, you can grab it. If you would like a binder to have a nicer writing surface, there's a few left in the back there. If we run out, I'll buy more. Just take the binders, use them. There should also be a bunch of pens available as well. Now, last week, we covered Ecclesiastes chapter 1. Chapter 2 happens to be one of the longer chapters in the book. So today, we're only going to cover the first 11 verses of chapter 2. It worked out that this semester I had 3 extra weeks, so I just decided to take the 3 longest chapters and split them up. So that's what we're going to be doing this week. Now, before we dive in, I wanted to just refresh our memory and think about what we talked about last week. Can anyone tell me in 2 or 3 words what chapter 1 was about? What would be your just quick summary? Yes? Everything is meaningless and hopeless. Okay, what else? I mean, did he hit the nail on the head? Is that why nobody's got another one? Right? Vanity of vanities, all is vanity, meaningless, meaningless. I mean, that seems to be the main theme of that chapter. Now, we also need to be reminded of that the structures of our Bibles are there for our benefit, but the authors, the original authors that are writing the letters and the books in the Bible, they're not necessarily going and saying, this is chapter 1, this is chapter 2, this is verse 3, right? That got added in afterward. That's for us. It's helpful for us to study our Bibles. Especially, I really like the section headers. It just helps me quickly, at a glance, kind of see what part of the chapter I'm looking at, right? But this is a good reminder for us because we are starting chapter 2, but again, in Hebrew, this was written on a scroll. There's no chapters. He just keeps going. So for us, we kind of come to chapter 2 and we're like, all right, new chapter, new subject. No. He can kind of build on what was just said. So let's remind ourselves real quick. Can anyone summarize what Solomon was writing about in chapter 1, verses 16 to 18? The last few verses. What was he talking about then before he moves into chapter 2? Logan.
Fear of God.
Fear of God. Okay. What else? What do you see in chapter 1, verse 16 to 18?
Talking about
Wisdom and knowledge. Yep. Anything else in there? What does he say about wisdom? The more you get, the sadder you get. All right. So he talks about trying to get wisdom, but he also said, I see that there's some vanity to this. There's some meaningless to this. He also talks about folly. He starts to talk about wisdom and foolishness. Now, I think that's helpful for us to think about as we dive into chapter 2. And we're going to be reading verses 2 through 11. So could I have a volunteer who's willing to read from the New King James Version? Does somebody have the New King James Version? Would you like to read it for us?
I said in my heart, come now, I will test you with mirth. Therefore enjoy pleasure. But surely this also was vanity. I said of laughter, madness, and of mirth, what does it accomplish? I searched in my heart how to gratify my flesh with wine, while guiding my heart with wisdom, and how to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was good for the sons of men to do under heaven in all the days of their lives. I made my works great, and I built myself houses and planted myself vineyards. I made myself gardens and orchards, and I planted all kinds of fruit trees in them. I made myself water pools from which water the growing trees of the grove. I acquired male and female servants, and had servants born in my house. Yes, I had greater possessions of herds and flocks than all those who were in Jerusalem before me. I also gathered for myself silver and gold, and the special treasures of kings and of provinces. I acquired male and female singers, the delights of the sons of men, and musical instruments of all kinds. So I became great and excelled more than all those who were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me. Whatever my eyes desired, I did not keep from them. I did not withhold my heart from any pleasure. For my heart rejoiced in all my labor, and this was my reward from all my labor. Then I looked in all the works that my hands had done, and on the labor which I had toiled. Indeed, all was vanity and grasping for the wind. There was no profit under the sun.
All right, and anybody willing to read from the CSB, which we'll put on the screen here in a second? Josiah?
I said to myself, "Go ahead, I will test you with pleasure, enjoy what is good." But it turned out to be futile. I said about laughter, "It is madness," and about pleasure, "What does this accomplish?" I explored with my mind the pull of wine on my body, my mind still guiding me with wisdom, and how to grasp folly until I could see what is good for people to do under heaven during the few days of their lives. I increased my achievements. I built houses and planted vineyards for myself. I made gardens and parks for myself and planted every kind of fruit tree in them. I constructed reservoirs for myself from which to irrigate a grove of flourishing trees. I acquired male and female servants and had slaves who were born in my house. I also owned livestock, large herds and flocks, more than all who were before me in Jerusalem. I also amassed silver and gold for myself and the treasure of kings and provinces. I gathered male and female singers for myself and many concubines, the delights of men. So I became great and surpassed all who were before me in Jerusalem. My wisdom also remained with me. All that my eyes desired, I did not deny them. I did not refuse myself any pleasure, for I took pleasure in all my struggles. This was my reward for all my struggles. When I considered all that I had accomplished and what I had labored to achieve, I found everything to be futile and a pursuit of the wind. There was nothing to be gained under the sun.
Awesome. All right. So my first question for us to get into this text and start studying it is this. What seems to be the main topic or a major theme of this chapter so far? And then why do you think that? Yes?
Things he does for himself.
Okay. Okay.
He doesn't say, I did this for myself a lot, instead of I did this to help others, and that's why it's so futile.
Yeah, I saw that language all over this text. You could even say he's very self-focused here, isn't he? I will do this. I said to myself, I will test you, meaning me, right? Like I'm talking to myself here. I said about laughter, it's madness. I explored with my mind until I could see. I increased my achievements. I mean, once you notice that pattern, it's there, right? You see it all throughout this. I built houses. I made gardens. I constructed. I acquired. I also owned. I amassed silver. I gathered male and female singers. I became great. I did not deny them. I did not deny my eyes. I did not refuse myself. I took pleasure when I considered that all the things that I had accomplished and what I had labored to achieve, I found everything. He is very self-focused. Right? To say little about that. What else do you notice in here? None of that satisfied his soul. There was nothing to be gained under the sun. It was a pursuit of the wind. Meaningless. What else? Yeah. Where is God in this chapter? Nowhere to be found. Yeah. All right, what else? Okay, yeah, now we're getting into some of the details here. And this is what I want us to start looking at. I'm going to test you with pleasure. Enjoy what is good. I said about laughter. You see what he's focusing on here? Let's pick out some more of these. What other things do you see him talking about? in this text? Yep, accomplishments, achievements. Yes, yeah, and I think the New King James actually captured that a little bit better than the CSB. Because the CSB, I know it's more modern, but, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know what it means to the explore with my mind the pull of wine. Whereas the New King James is, I'm seeking to gratify my flesh with wine. And I think that's just a little bit more straightforward. What else? Yeah. Concubines. Yep. Yep, that's a thing here. The delights of men. I'll highlight that whole thing there. Silver and gold. The treasure of kings and provinces. So it's not even just silver and gold like liquid money, but it's like the things that this other nation finds to be valuable. They're special things. Yes. What else? Houses, gardens, flocks, flute trees. Yep. Male and female servants and slaves. Yep. Even, this was interesting, singers. Right? Okay. Yep. Anything else? Right? Yep. I mean, he's talking like, here's my reward for all my struggles. Right? So he's talking about what he's worked, and I think there's probably a little bit of I've worked for this and I've earned this. Right? What else? He got fame. What verse was that in? Right. He had pretty much anything that he wanted. Yeah, I became great. Surpassed all who were there before me. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Where do you see that? Just his overall tone. Yeah. Okay. Yes. You know, we're going to come back to that. That's very interesting. Again, we're talking about the author of Proverbs, who very clearly taught us about what wisdom is and is not. I mean, he very clearly taught us the difference between worldly wisdom and heavenly wisdom. But here we see him talking about my wisdom, and apparently this wisdom is leading him to all these different pursuits. I don't know that sounds like godly wisdom, does it? Right? That's interesting. Okay? All right, now with all of these topics brought up, all of these underlines that we just went through and did, what would you say seems to be the main theme or topic? Pleasure. Yes. And I think, would most of your Bibles have that in the section header there? Right? Pleasure. We're talking about pleasure and how it can or cannot satisfy you. Right? All right. So, let's look at verse 1 again in order to answer question 2 on the handout. I said to myself, go ahead, I will test you with pleasure. Enjoy what is good. What do you think Solomon is testing? I'm sorry? He's testing the meaning of life? Okay. Mitch, go ahead. Right. Yep. Anything else you see here? Yes. I'm going to be very direct here on this sentence, like English literature direct. Right? Let's break off this go ahead. Ignore that, right? Here's our subject is I. All right? Will test is the verb, right? That's what's going to happen. Who is this? Who's going to get tested? He'll test you. Who's he talking to? He's talking to himself. All right, so Solomon's saying, I'm going to test myself with what? Pleasure. That's the main theme of this whole section. So he introduces that to us. And then what's his summary here? This enjoy what is good. This is another way, he's just restating his main topic here. Enjoyment. Is this worthwhile? Is this going to be the thing that satisfies me? To enjoy what is good. Does anybody know a one-word descriptor of somebody who devotes their entire life to pleasure? Hedonism. Yes, that's an important word. There's another pastor John Piper, who calls himself a Christian hedonist, which seems like it contradicts, right? Because this hedonist, the hedonism philosophy, teaches that we should only seek what pleases us, only seek what makes you happy, right? And so Christian hedonism, what John Piper is trying to teach us is that, hey, there's only one way, there's only one source, there's only one thing that's going to make you happy. And that's the thing that you should devote your entire life to pursuing. And it's God himself. He's going to satisfy you. And so he knows that, John Piper, if you've listened to him talk, he's like one of the happiest pastors, old men that you'll meet, right? He's just exuberating with the grace and the glory of God, right? But here, Solomon is saying, I'm going to test myself with pleasure. And then in verse 3 even, my mind's still guiding me with wisdom. So he's trying to be wise about this, right? It's almost like he's exploring all these other paths that people could go just to see. Is there something that I'm missing? Is there some secret behind just pursuing pleasure, just pursuing happiness? All right. Question 3 on our handout is a really interesting question for us to think about. What kind of wisdom might Solomon be talking about in this chapter? And is God leading Solomon in these pursuits? What do you think? What kind of wisdom do you see? I'm sorry? It's man's wisdom. It's selfish wisdom. Experiential wisdom, right? None of these descriptors describe wisdom that comes from above, right? It doesn't describe and this is interesting. Again, who are we talking about? We're talking about Solomon. Yes. Yeah. So just to summarize a little bit of what you said there, he wrote Proverbs, Song of Solomon before this, earlier on in life. He's had decades to practice that wisdom, to live it out. He's gone through all sorts of different circumstances and situations where he's had that wisdom tested, tried to see if it's true, right? So there might be a little bit of some pessimism, right? There might be a little bit of, I know this is better, but it's not that much better in light of eternity, right? Yeah. I think that the best way to describe when this book is written was near the end of his life, because we don't know exactly when he wrote this book or the context that he was living in that led him to write this book. I think from the general tone of things, and also considering the other books that he's written, it seems more likely that he wrote this at the end of his life, near the end of his life. He's thinking about his son having to take the throne after him. He's thinking about his legacy, what he's going to leave behind, what's going to last, right? Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, verse 3, Solomon he's claiming that he used wisdom when drinking wine and pursuing foolishness. Did you see that? How to grasp folly. In my study, I think I spent 2 hours on that one phrase. What are you talking about? How to grasp folly. We're talking about Solomon, who's supposed to be one of the wisest people on earth. No one is supposed to be wiser than him, right? And he's sitting here drinking wine, trying to figure out how to be a fool. Why do you think he's thinking about this? What might allure him to that? Yes, he's looking to foolishness to see if it can satisfy, if it can make him happy. Right? And he sees other people around him living it up. He's like, what do they have that I don't? This might also blend right back into the last few verses of chapter 1, that much wisdom brought sorrow. He knows the right thing, but then he's like, why can't I go over here and do what they're doing? Right? He's trying to grasp foolishness until there's a point. There's an objective here. What's the objective? Until I could see what is good for people to do under heaven during the few days of their lives. What do I do with my life? If everything is meaningless, if everything is vanity, Like, if it doesn't really matter this side of heaven, what do I do with these few days that I have left? That's what he's getting at here. So, I mean, yeah, foolishness, he's considering it. He starts there, right? And he's specifically considering foolishness and pleasure, how those two things go hand in hand. All right, question 4. What might Solomon mean by there was nothing to be gained under the sun? What does that mean? I know we're getting a little bit into interpretation here rather than observation. Yes?
I think it means that it did not satisfy him.
It did not satisfy. It was not satisfactory to him. It was fun for a little bit, but didn't go the long one.
All the things that he amassed over time was frivolous because it was nothing compared to what he was getting after he saw.
It was all the things that he did get. It's like getting that toy for Christmas as a young kid. There's so many videos that I love watching. There's a girl that she gets her Barbie doll, and this is one of the Barbie dolls that somehow like has a helicopter function. So it flies for a little bit, but it doesn't have any steering controls. So there's a fireplace in the background of this video, goes up in the air and goes straight to the fireplace, right? Right. So, and I mean, you can think of all the stories of a kid getting their toy and then they're done with it in 5 minutes. They've been asking for this for months, right? Yeah. They play more with the box. Makes you feel like everything is vanity as a parent, for sure. But yeah, what else? What else do you think he means by this?
I think he's saying that the wisdom of the world is futility.
Yep. I found everything to be futile. It's pointless. It's just pointless. Now, what kind of perspective does he have? Earthly? Okay. Okay. Yeah.
There are no heavenly rewards for selfish endeavors, and he was getting old, and he wasn't going to be here much longer. He had to realize that everything he was doing was fruitless in the end.
I mean, think about that, guys. We were just talking about his achievements, his work, right? He planted vineyards. He made gardens and parks, every kind of fruit tree, all these reservoirs. He's got all these slaves that wait on him hand and foot. He's not going to be around to enjoy it much longer. It's all going to go to someone else. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that would make you feel. I mean, you spend your whole life working for something and then it's just gone. Right? Feels like bottomless. I think that there's somewhat of an internal perspective here, because he does see it's pointless in light of eternity. If this is all it is, if this life is all we have, this side of heaven, then absolutely pursue what is fun and good. Go live it up. Go search all the things that please you, that make you happy. But it's all pointless because eternity does exist. Right? So there is some eternal perspective here. But I thought of an illustration that might help our teenagers with this, and I'll appreciate all our adults groaning as you listen to this. Teenagers, I want you to imagine moving out and getting your own apartment. I'm sure some of your parents want you to imagine this more often. But imagine that you're moving into your apartment and you're a teenager, so you can't afford much. There's lots of things about the apartment itself that you wish you could change. Maybe you spend too much time on the internet and you see other people renovating their kitchens, making it look all nice and pretty. They're replacing their floors, whatever it is. So you start to imagine how you could make your new apartment look nicer. Would it be worth it to spend a bunch of your money on renovating your kitchen in that apartment that you rent? What do you think? A lot of you are shaking your head no, right? But why not? If I want a new kitchen, why can't I do it? What's wrong with that? You don't own it, right? So there's the problem. As a renter, you don't own the apartment or the house that you're living in. So the money that you invest into that place, it's really only benefiting the owner, the other guy, right? Once you leave that apartment, you don't get that money back. And the owner, he got a nice free upgrade that he can now charge more for from the next guy, right? So if you did own the house, though, when you sell the house to move, you get the profit from any of the upgrades that you made to that house. If you make it a nicer house, you'll earn money from that. Now, the point of me sharing this is that Solomon is seeing the same thing here on earth. We're just renting in this life. We're renters. We're pilgrims, right? God's word has revealed to us that death is appointed once for each of us. We're all going to die. That means we're going to leave behind things. And he's told us that the new heaven and the new earth is coming with the rest of eternity in his presence. Right? This is a reality. So, what is the point in us investing so much into this life before eternity, in things that are temporary? I think Solomon's trying to make the same point. All right, final question for us tonight. What can we learn about what is most important from this passage? Yes? The only things that last are the things of the Lord. Anything else to add to that? Yes?
Solomon still had wisdom, but one can have wisdom and still choose to disobey.
Mm-hmm.
I think because he had wisdom, he began to realize how fruitless it was that he had away.
That's true. Now, remember what Solomon asked the Lord for. He asked the Lord for wisdom. He didn't say heavenly wisdom. He said wisdom. I think we see a mix here of heavenly wisdom and lots of experiential, worldly wisdom that he's brought into the mix. And I think that we can also see from Solomon's own life that mixing wisdom like that, it can lead us in wrong directions. It can lead us to unsatisfying lives, right? Now, if I wrote this down, if you want to look up Hebrews 11 verses 24 through 26, that's a very interesting passage to contrast with verse 10 and 11 here, when he's talking about, all that my eyes desired, I did not deny them. In Hebrews, we go and we look at Moses, and Moses he's not avoiding suffering. In fact, he wanted to suffer for the sake of Christ, is how Hebrews puts it, right? He looked forward to that. He was not chasing pleasure, like Solomon is saying here in chapter 2. So it's a very interesting contrast. And you could also look at 1 John too. There's another great passage there. But that's all that I have for us tonight, and it looks like I'm ending right on time. This is going to be the first time that I'm taking my students with me over to room 17. We are going to discuss some of these applicational questions on the back of your handout. But for the rest of you, I encourage you to check out those questions, think about them for yourself as well. Seek to apply what you've learned today. And thank you for praying for our students and for our church.